Hello, everyone. This is Betsy Wurzel, your host of Chatting with Betsy on Passionate World Talk Radio, which is a subsidiary of Global Media Network, LLC. And our mantra at Passionate World Talk Radio is educate, enlighten, and entertain. The views of the guest may not represent those of the host of the station. Folks, welcome to Chatting with Betsy. I am excited as always. I really am excited about every guest that comes on. I have an exceptional guest today. Excuse me. And, folks, when you hear the excitement and the passion in my voice, that is 100% me, because I am excited every time I talk to someone. And I'm really excited when I have someone on who is passionate about their life, about their work, and wants to help other people and raise awareness on what their specific illness is and how they're just living life. And I want to encourage everyone out there, no matter what disease you have or your loved one, try living your life every day to the fullest. And, I created the group hashtag Kick Alzheimer's Ass Movement. And people say, why did you name it that? Because if I didn't kick Alzheimer's rear end, it was going to kick mine. I didn't have it, my husband did. And you have to live life every day. And, yes, I'm on my soapbox. I will get off my soapbox and introduce my wonderful guest. My guest today is Delaney Parker. She was diagnosed in 2008 with MS. And she is a feisty New Yorker, and you have a feisty New Jersey girl here. And she wrote the book. She is author and writer of the novel, a hot and steamy novel, folks, called Grace. And let me tell you, this book, I couldn't put it down. I needed a cold shower in some parts of this book. It has erotic language in there, scenes. It's not for children. It's for adults. And I highly recommend reading this book. And what I really love about this book, and I'm not just saying this because I'm talking to Delaney Parker today, is because it shows a woman who has MS and is living life, who is a sexual being and wants to be a mom again. But I don't want to give too much of the book away. We're going to get into it. But I want to welcome Delaney Parker to Chatting with Betsy. Welcome, Delaney.
Hello, how are you? Hello. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks. How are you doing? Oh, you are welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. It is my pleasure. I loved your book. I just thought it was terrific. You're welcome. And what I always ask the author and writer, so I'll start with this question, is how did you go about creating this character and the story, and how much is it based on your life?
Okay, let me see.
That's a lot, right?
A bit of the time. No, I got it. Because, the reason I wrote it was when I got diagnosed with MS 15 years ago. There was no real verbiage out there. But it took me so long just to get diagnosed. It was hard. It was a very long, tough year. When I wrote the book, it was because because when you do have MS, you might wind up in bed for a bit, because there are times that happens. And any book I read, I was very disappointed, because there are no leads. We are no leads. I have a disability, and someone like me can't be a lead character. Oh, yes, I can. I'm a lead character in my life every day. And I refused. I was like, all these books are just, and it's all about that. It's only about our sickness. And this girl, Margaret, was me. Like, yes, sometimes art does imitate life. So you will see the MS information is absolutely accurate, and the MS trials that she goes through, those are accurate because I live that. And I wouldn't want to speak about something I didn't go through, because that wouldn't make for a very good book for me. So that part of it, that part is factual because I did go through those things, but I will let you know it is a novel because Margaret Hall, who is a very fantastic character, I will tell you, is a lot nicer than me, okay? And I would not have handled any of that the way she would have. So that is how I know, guaranteed, that is a novel. Because, yeah, there was some scorched earth if it was me. So there you go.
How long did it take you to write this book, Delaney?
The first draft took 6 months. And then I had someone read it, and they said, you don't have a real bad guy. And I said, I don't? And he's like, no, you're writing too polite. He said, I want you to write this again, and don't be sorry. Just write it. So I did. And I just wrote it. And that's what happened. And the funniest part is I've never written a book before. This is my first novel. And I've also never written sex stuff before. I don't even read that stuff. I don't read it, and I don't really watch it because, I don't know, I'm a mom, really. There's not really a lot of time for, sitting down and taking in a fine feature film. So I didn't even know until I was writing the book, and the characters had reached a part in their conversation, in their fight, in their life, where I'm like, this is where people would be having some sex. And like a goof, I went on Google. I'm not kidding you. And I Googled, how do I write sex sounds? Because I had no idea. And Google was helpful. Thank you, Google. I will always be grateful. But that is where, and I literally was just like, I'm not, and at first I was like, even trying to write those polite. And I said, no, we're all grown-ups. If I'm going to write the fight scenes as real as they can be, and I'm going to write the funny scenes as funny as they can be, well, then those sex scenes are going to be as great as they can be. As great as I know that, not like no one's getting, there's nothing crazy, but these are going to be real people who say real things, and we have real positions and real words that get said. There's no, mysterious, NDA that gets signed by the gajillionaire that happen to have a helicopter for your first date. It's not going to be like that. We're dealing with grown-ups who are like, I am more than just a mom. I'm a mom. I am feisty. I got a best friend. Her and her best friend are hilarious. They crack me up the whole time. And it's so funny because I wrote it, and they're like, what do you mean they cracked you up? Because I don't get to be them. And literally, they come to life. I can tell you that. As the first book I've ever written, I felt like a court stenographer. This stuff just started to happen. They literally started making their own decisions and their own moves and their own smart remarks, and I was just typing along. It was, I would not know how to explain that if I had not gone through it, because it was out of nowhere one day. I was like, this book's got legs. It was about 100 pages, not even 100, but just near. I'm like, wow. And they were just talking. I wasn't talking like I wasn't in the room. It was interesting. And I couldn't believe that could happen, and I was just like, wow, that was really cool. Because, again, their character decisions in here. If I was writing this book and I was using only me, there's no way that 80% of those decisions would not have gone that way. No way. It's quite fun.
I like the fact, well, first of all, I want to say congratulations, because for first book, and I'm by no means a book critic, but you hit this out of the ballpark.
Oh, thank you so much.
This is, I have enough trouble writing a blog. Okay. So I get envious of
I
people.
did think that when I sat down that first day, yes. I was like, wow. Huh. Okay, then. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So when people can write, I'm envious of people like you that it amazes me, and I admire. The more I do the show, I so admire authors, writers, who their creative process, and everyone is different, and creating the characters, creating the dialogue, and it just fascinates me, because I really want the audience to start appreciating authors and writers and what they go through, their process, and bringing us a book that we just take for granted and pick it up and read it. But some people, they take 5 years to write a book with their research.
Yes.
So how did you come up with what was your creative process like, the dialogue, the characters?
All right. Well, the dialogue was, to me, when I write, I'm a storyteller. I love to tell the story, and I'm a very physical. I should be one of those little Jerry Lewis actor. I'm very physical. And I like to tell the story. So when I wrote the book, I literally, for a lot of it, I was talking out loud first, and then writing, because I said, I want this book. I want people to feel like I'm talking to them. I wanted to write how I speak, because that was going to be the only way that book was going to come out authentic. If I'm a good storyteller, then I'm going to keep going with that theory. I'm going to tell that story and then work it through with whatever I like on that. But I will tell you the truth is, well, not the truth, like, ooh, that was a big story. But it started when I was told that I needed to do more. I need you to do more. It's not enough. I was disabled. I had just gotten disability, and I fought for years for it. And I was told it was not enough that I was giving, and I needed to do more. And I said, get me a computer. I said, if you get me a computer, I'll write a story. And they did not believe me, and they gave me the computer. And nothing will get me going more than someone saying they don't think I can. So I wrote because I said I would, and I said I could, and I will. And I didn't, it's a little emotional for me. It didn't even matter, because I understood that I couldn't get a regular job. Because even when people see me, they're like, well, you seem fine. Why? Because the not fine happens as a turn of, like, it happens so fast. So fast, and, like, I literally went into a store one day, came out, couldn't walk. Like, it happens that fast. So I knew I couldn't get a job, and I was like, well, you're putting this to me saying you need me to do more and bring in money and be more, but how do you want me to? So I'm like, what can I do staying home? What can I do? How can I do something? And it sucked in a little bit, because there's some humbling writing a story like that. There sure is. But I said, hey, you know what? It's already ugly. I'm already in it, and I'm already crying, so I'm going to write it. So I wrote it. I wrote it because I needed to be more. So it might not have been the best kicker, but at the end of the day, I still did it, and doing it got me help. So I was an integrative doctor saw me in an interview, and he helped me based on that. So some good came out of it on that level. But yeah, it was done because someone said I had to.
I say kudos to you, because, folks, I did want to tell you, I read the book, and what I like is that Margaret Hall, who has MS, is more than her MS. She is a wife. She's a mother. She wants to be a mom again, and she is dealing with her disease as a, what do you call it? As you have your, you go into remission, but then
when you have a relapse with multiple sclerosis.
Right, yeah, relapse.
Relapsing.
Yes, and going through the different trials, and just to be, a sexual being. And that's what I like about this book, because I think it's the first time I've read a book about someone with a disability who is saying, I'm a sexual human being, and I want to be a mom again, and just dealing with life and living life through the ups and downs. And I just think that's wonderful, because a lot of people, and you know this, Delaney, people think, oh, well, they have a disability, couldn't possibly want sex.
No,
they have a disability.
Right. No, that's not true. That might be the only reason why we still like you. That might be the only reason why we still like you. So don't count out your stress. It's because a lot of it is like you lose a lot of yourself with this. So to lose that part, as a woman, we give up a lot. Just like there's about 80% of autoimmune diseases are women, and we take on a lot of emotional weight. And it's not to say that men don't, but I can't speak for them because I'm not one. We take on a lot, and there's so much that we have to be and do, and that often part of us gets made dormant almost. And it's important, it's not about making a husband happy or a partner happy. It's about feeling good within yourself, saying, I have this part of me still very much alive, and I want this to be, and that's what It's not like, oh, I better not because I don't want to make my husband upset or my mate upset because I'm not that person anymore. It's about her wanting to be that person. And that, to me, is what was important. It wasn't someone just like, oh, well, I guess I'll do it. No, and I wanted her to want to. You know what I mean? You need to want to. I don't want it to be like, what would be the point in life? And guess what? If you're already getting enough taken away from you. No one's taking that from you, too. You're not, not that stuff. That's crazy. And plus, the best part is you can do it laying down. Sorry. But, so even
I don't like to give away too much of the book because I want the audience to be curious to read it. But Margaret's husband in the book is not he's not that nice of a guy.
You know what? And he's not anymore. I feel, he might have been, but they've been sick a while. And that's the better or for worse part, because everyone's like, well, and as a person who's sick, I will tell you, it is hard to be the sick person and know that you're going to devastate somebody. And this is the answer I get. Well, if someone loves you enough, and then you get there, that's great. Good for you. You're not the one who gets to dwindle away and watch that person cry over you and break over you. And to know that they love me so much, and I love them so much, I know I'm going to devastate you. And that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
So even when someone first gets sick, they might be like, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. Okay. So you get to the first year, and that one's hard. That's hard. You get to 2, 3, 4 years. That's 15 years, 16 years, 17 years, 25 years. It gets hard, especially when the person that you were with fades away a little bit all the time. They're always fading away. They're always not the same. And you just have to somehow remain together. And then you're the sick person who's like, I have to try to remain together for as long as possible because it breaks you that you're breaking them. So for me, would not want to, like, I've learned to hide, cover, or we'll say mask a lot of symptoms because I don't want the look on someone's face when that's happening it kills me. And that's where you're like, oh, well, if they love you enough, it'll be great. Listen, people are humans. No one's Gandhi around here. No one's Buddha. We say, it's all death, till death do you part. I don't know that some people understand the weight of that. Sicker or like for health, sicker and health, well, that's great. Well, what if it's always sick? What if there's never health? What if it's sick the whole time? The whole time. And that's not saying anyone's bad or horrible, but it's not something that is easy to do for 30 years. It's not easy to be a good sport about. It's not. And does that state to be with someone who might not be the good sport when there's really nothing you can do? Yeah, it does. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about what it is. And what it is it's tough. It's tough because humans, nobody expects that the person's going to be sick forever. That's what it feels like, forever.
Yeah. It is. It is hard. I gave this is probably 4 years ago, longer than that, when I talked on Jeannie White's show for caregivers, and I talked about, because I'm in a lot of support groups, there's a lot of people, spouses, partners, who develop relationships outside their marriage because their loved one has Alzheimer's or some other dementia. And my viewpoint is it's not something that I did or I could have done, but I understand why people do it. Not that I'm not promoting homewrecking, folks. Don't take that the wrong way.
We're not talking about that. We're just talking about human need, human nature, human love.
Right.
It's not about the moral opposition of it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and when you're talking like years, some people do what they have to do, what they need to do to survive. And human touch and contact is very important. And to some people, they need that. And if their wife or partner, husband can't provide that, they look somewhere else. I'm not promoting it, folks. I'm just saying that some folks...
It's just stating facts.
Right, I'm stating the fact. And let's not judge. That's what I say.
Yeah, if you're not in it, you can't judge it. Yep.
Right, just because I wouldn't do it. I didn't have time or energy. And I admire people who have the time and energy to have done it, Delaney, but that wasn't for me, but maybe it's for someone else. I'm not going to condemn that person. And
yes, exactly.
that's their decision. But I like how you bring a lot of facets of relationships out in your book.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give away the ending because there's a secret, and I really want people to get this book. And
you're never going to see it coming.
Yes.
It's surprising, right? That's the thing I get the most. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, I did not see that coming." I literally have like 10 of those messages.
Yeah. It's you have a love story here, you have mystery here, you have a little bit of everything. And
that's what life is, baby.
Yeah, different emotions. And I have to ask you, or I have to tell you, Delaney, I could so relate in a lot of ways to your character. I don't have MS, but just to be believed by a doctor. There's a lot of doctors who do not believe when women complain about symptoms, and we have to be an advocate. You bring that out in your book, I feel. I could see it.
Absolutely.
And that you have to advocate for yourself. Okay, I want to try this medication. Yes, I know the side effects, but let me try it. Because with medicine, you don't know until you try. Or a clinical
when I was
trial.
diagnosed, it was after they told me I was bipolar. They said I had postpartum. They gave me every excuse in the book. I was like, so you're telling me that my legs went out from underneath me because I have then they said I was a hypochondriac and that I was manifesting these symptoms because of my deep anxiety. I'm like, I don't have deep anxiety. I'm exhausted. I'm just really tired. They're like, well, you're depressed. I'm like, I'm not depressed. Like, I'm not depressed. I'm literally tired. Like, nobody would listen to me. And I still will remember the word fodder because the doctor said, fine, I'll give you a referral to a neurologist so you can get rid of all this fodder. Like, he still didn't believe me. And even after I got diagnosed, that doctor never saw me again. So, and it's happened to me several times in my life with my health where I'm like, listen, I think this is going on, and I'm not believed by a doctor. And I don't understand that, especially if you're someone who has to live so aware of your body. You believe me, I'm up on it because I gotta be. I know what's going on in here because it behooves me to know better, like so I can be okay. Like I don't really take a lot of chances with myself anymore like that. So it sucks to have someone not even listen to that when you're like, I do this. Like, this is my life, is being aware of myself. Because I have to be. You're like, you have to be.
Yes,
My temperature goes up 2 degrees and it'll change everything for me. Just the temperature change. If I get immediate stress, like if I'm scared, all of a sudden, it could literally be that. I, get scared and go to run and my legs give out because I can't. My body just glitches and I fall. You're like, like, there it is. Like, what would I do in a serious situation? I have no idea, and I can only pray that I'll wind up in one. Like, that's a scary place to be. To say, wow, I don't know that I can take care of myself, and I have to count on the people around me to always do the right thing. That's not easy either. Woo, that ain't easy.
How old were you when you were diagnosed, Delaney?
I was just shy of 33.
You're young.
Wait,
I
wait, no, wait, I was, I'm trying to think about when I had my son. I'm sorry. I think I was 34. Sorry, 34, 33, 34.
Yeah,
I'm 50 now, so I'm like trying to think.
That's okay. I have a friend who was diagnosed in her 20s with it, and now she's in a wheelchair. Matter of fact, she just fractured her ankle. She lives with her parents, and she was working outside the home for the longest time, and then she was allowed to work at home. But as women, we're not believed. I'm going to ask you a personal question. You don't have to answer this if you don't want to.
You can ask me anything. I don't care. You can't write a book like that and get personal questions.
Does your menstrual cycle affect your symptoms?
Yes, it does. It's awesome, by the way. Awesome. Yeah, it does, and I love that because when you're already feeling like, to have that jump on it, you're like, that's great because now I definitely am absolutely going to make sense and very legit choices. It makes you almost feel like it's almost like being overstimulated, like there's like too much noise. Like when I get like that and I have premenstrual and all that stuff going on, I needed it literally. I can't have busyness. It hurt, like it literally feels like it hurts almost because I can hear every single sound. It's not like one thing sticks out. I feel like I can hear everything, see everything is, and then when your body gets the hormones change, just like when a woman's pregnant, a lot of the time when a woman is pregnant, she can go into remission. I did not, however, big surprise. But your hormones change, so that changes with it. Your MS, like it really does. So here you are, your body temperature goes up, so now your MS systems kick up. You're like, oh my God, and now the fatigue that you already have is now going to get compounded. So it's like all this stuff is like, yeah, it absolutely has a very big effect on it. And menopause has been a blast as well. I might want to tell you that. It's really been an exciting time here. It's been an exciting time.
I bet. And then pregnancy. Does pregnancy alleviate some of these symptoms, or does it make your MS progress?
Well, they will tell you that statistically, a lot of women will go into a remission when they're pregnant because the hormone balance changes. And that can happen. It did not happen for me. I was a hot mess. That part is in the book. Because she goes through a pregnancy as well. So we went through the pregnancy, she and I, and what we dealt with was very similar, and it was not easy. I wound up having a really hard time through my whole second trimester. Spent a lot of the time on the floor, and it was not great. But when the third trimester hit, it stopped. It was the weirdest thing because the thing with MS, it takes almost 3 weeks for it to get to its worst. Like when you feel stuff's already getting wacky, it's going to probably keep spinning for a little bit. You're like, where's the bottom? Where's the bottom? And you never know where the bottom is when you're in that flare up. That's very scary. Again, you don't have control over a lot. And that's one of the things that's really hard to come to terms. Well, it was for me. It was hard to come to terms with not having control over so many times of things like that. And it is not easy to be in that place. And I'm thinking about it more like it's hard to navigate as it is and then try to think for yourself, go, all right, is this MS? Am I just being hormonal? Is it this? Is it that? Like you want to overthinking, becoming so self-aware, it's almost too self-aware. It's not self-absorbed, believe you me, because it's not fun, but there's so much that you have to keep notice of. It gets to be quite a bit. It can be quite a bit.
Yeah, you have to really, I tell everyone, no matter what your diagnosis is, educate yourself about it.
Yes.
So you know what to expect, and to you have to be your own advocate. I've had doctors not believe me when having pain, and this one doctor, I would have pain 2 weeks out of the month. And one doctor said to me, well, at least you know when you're fertile.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. That was his answer to that? Oh, okay.
That was his answer. Yeah, and I was having pain, and it turned out the my primary at that time said, okay, I'll send you for an ultrasound, and I had endometriosis.
Oh my goodness! See, look how bad. And then and then they come in and they're acting like a hero because they figured it out in the last 5 minutes. So yeah, I know. I apologize, and I know it's not me, but I apologize for that because I get that because and I know that happens all the time to us, and I don't know why. First of all, as a woman, I'll say this: I'm pretty traditional. I do a lot of I'm a mom, and I do that, and I'm here with these kids. So I take care. My life is basically giving other people a life. Okay, so in doing that, you're basically the powerful Oz behind the curtain when you're the house person. When you're that person, you are, whether you like it or not, you're the runner. You're the one doing it. So to be able to say, well, all of this is your responsibility, but yet think that you're not responsible enough or smart enough to know about yourself. So you trust me with the care of, say, 3-4 other people and the house and the dogs and the bills and all that. I'm cool for that. But when I tell you that something hurts, you're like, no, you silly little thing. What? No. Oh, and I like, it's just too much. I feel bad. I lost my train of thought before. The getting sick is 3 weeks. The getting better is like, I don't know, like you'll start to get better at the end. It takes like another 3 weeks to get back up. Thanks. Sorry about that. I lost my train of thought and I found it again. So
that's okay.
Sorry about that. And I'm like, that's one of the fun parts of MS is that I sound ditzier than I am, and people take that for granted and they take advantage because they think I'm not smart. And then they learn quickly that I am smart, and you need to watch your mouth because I don't like that.
Yeah. People underestimate. People underestimate, and I know we talked before we started to record, but I just want to tell the audience because I'm so passionate about this. Everyone, every single person on this earth wants to be treated with respect and dignity. So why don't we do that? And if you see someone who has a disability, whether they're using a walker, in a wheelchair, using a walking stick, whatever their situation is, please be respectful and ask them if they need help. And don't talk to them like their mind isn't there, because it is there. And just treat people how you would want to be treated, because folks, I'll tell you, baby boomers are getting older. I'm one of them. Any one of us, anyone at any time can be disabled, have an illness, and how would you want to be treated is what I really am very passionate about, because we're seconds. We all are seconds away from having something wrong with us or having a disability.
Really?
And, I'd really like to drive that home. I don't care if I sound redundant when I say it, because people need to think about this, Delaney. How would I want how would I want to be treated? How would you want your loved one to be treated? And I can tell you want them treated with respect and dignity. And you'll fight for that too.
And I think a lot of it comes down to empathy. People are like, well, I don't know how that feels. I've never been in that situation. Okay, maybe you've never been in that situation or a specific situation that you can see. But have you ever been hurting? Yes. Have you ever felt lonely? Yes. Have you ever felt unheard? Yes. So there you go. If you have felt those three things, any one of those three things, or a combination of 2 or 3 of those things, then you get it. Like, that's the thing. Don't feel so separate from that person, because you want to know what? We might not be going through it on that exact level, but we have all, like, I don't know anyone who hasn't felt lonely or desperate or hopeless at times. So even if you can't say, well, I don't know what it is to be in a wheelchair, that's great. I understand that. But do you know what it is to feel hopeless, helpless? A lot of us have in different ways. So find your empathy in that. And I'm going to ask that you just give us some credit for being more aware than you think, and give us a little more credit in it matters to us. It does. It matters a lot. Matters to us, even if you think it doesn't matter. It matters. It matters how you talk to us. It matters how you treat us. It does, and it registers, and it'll stay. Because I admit there were things, like when I was first getting diagnosed, it was hard. Even my own family didn't believe me. Nobody. They called me crazy. I did not have a lot of support, and even to this day, there seems to still be issue. And first it was, you probably don't have MS, you're just crazy, and then it was, you better not use it as an excuse. I don't know anyone who's using this kind of stuff as an excuse, but for the love of God, just know this. They're not using it as an excuse. They don't feel well, even if you don't understand it. And just because you know someone with MS and they're acting different than someone else with MS doesn't mean the MS is any less or any more. Every one of us has different symptoms, and it manifests differently for everybody. So just keep that in mind. Just because you know someone with a sickness doesn't mean you know all about it, because everyone's handling it different, and it shows up differently for different people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have a saying in the Alzheimer's world, when you meet that one person with Alzheimer's, you met one person, because everybody is different. It's the same with any disease. Everyone is different. And even, Delaney, I don't have MS, but I could say to my friend, how are you doing? And I'm here to hold space for you.
There you go.
And
that's it.
Wonderful. I mean, That's it. And not to be, let me tell you, folks, not to be believed is so frustrating in and of itself by doctors, by your own family, not to be believed. That when you know there's something amiss with your body and nobody believes you, people, I just don't get it. I don't understand. They need to teach in medical school, listen to women, because women have different heart attack symptoms than men. And that's why a lot of doctors don't believe women. And they treat men differently, even with the same symptoms. It is, it's unreal. Unless you've seen it, and I have seen it, you just can't believe the difference of how men and women are treated. And my advice, and I interviewed a few doctors, and they said if a doctor doesn't listen to you and respect you, get up and go to a different doctor.
You got to. I mean, and again, I'm not here to bash the boys, but I just want you to think about this. How many different insurances there are, and how people are like, oh, I can't get my medication covered, The fact that Viagra, which is not a life-saving medication in any way, it's really not. It's actually, I would think, recreational if you want to think about it. It's covered by pretty much everyone and everything, no matter what. But yet my friend had a problem getting her diabetes medication. So why is that? It's because for years. By the way, do you know the chainsaw was originally invented for women who were giving birth? So they haven't really had much respect for us or care or treating us delicate in any kind of way since ever. So it always strikes me how they think we're soft-headed, but apparently you can use a chainsaw on us to get a baby out. So I don't know. It seems like it's a little too convenient for me, you know? Like we get treated so less. It's like that stuff is covered for no problem. That guy, if put it this way, you know, if a guy walks into that office, it's a whole different story. Like it or not, we're not bashing guys. We're just living life because that's the way it works for us. Like it or not, we're not happy about that fact. Trust me, we would like to go in just like you, be believed, and get out of there. But we're not. We're either hysterical, we've got problems, we got this, we got that. You know, we just need a little minute, or we just, you know, maybe need a hobby. No, that's not it at all. We're sick. But when it comes to women, they just have a different attitude. Again, they would never put a chainsaw shake anything near anything on a man, ever. But yet they use them to help women give birth back in the day, to get a baby out. A chainsaw. Can you imagine? Especially think about the anesthesia back then. Oh, wait, there was none. So they would never have done something that barbaric to a man. A man would never have to go through that. But yet, there you are. It's very interesting how we're treated like chattel and as delicate, soft-minded chattel. That's what it feels like sometimes.
Yes, definitely. And I just love your feistiness, Delaney, and your just being so honest. And you could see that. And I got that through reading your book, that you are just, you know, living life, and that's what you want to do. And then you have this disease, but it's not stopping you from living life. And I think that's really a great testimony for the people who have MS or some other kind of disability, that, you know, live life the best you can. No, it's not a bed of roses. Believe me, I know that, folks. But just to live life, and you are living life. And
I try. I'm trying. You know, it's like the sun rises in the east and it sets in the west. The hours in between, just do your best. My best is different every day. There are days I get up, I'm like, I got this. I get some laundry done. I can cook the food. I walk the dogs. I'm like, oh, man, I got 3 things done today. I'm a powerhouse. And then there'll be that day where I'm like, I can't even stop my life.
Yeah.
I just sit there and binge TV all day, but I have to love both of those girls. I have to love me on both of those days. Not look at myself like, oh, I'm so lazy, I didn't get out of that. Well, guess what? If wherever you are right now is where there's no shoulds in this life, or I should have done this, I should have done. Stop that. Right where you are right now is exactly where you should be. You wonder how I know? Because that's where you are. So you're right where you need to be, whether you like it or not, whether it's awesome or not, whether it's fluffy or not. Right where you are right now, it's not chance. These are choices, and life is happening So, like it or not, the clock is ticking. Like I was like, oh, you can start over. No, you can't. You get born, and you can take as many goes at it as you want. But we're already here. We're already doing this thing. So you know what? I'm going to just do this. Like that's what I do. I'm going to do this day the best that I can. Let me tell you something. Yesterday, I didn't even put on pants. Today, completely made up, all put together. Because I'm like, I want to feel better, and even if they don't see me, I'll feel professional. Okay, great. Just so you know, tomorrow I'm probably going to have like some kind of toast in my hair, there'll be crumbs, and I won't know where one of my shoes is, and odds are I'm going to have 2 different socks on. Just saying. You got to ebb and flow. Ebb and flow. You know,
yes,
ebb and flow. And just love yourself for all of it. It's not, don't love yourself despite. Love yourself because of it. Because if you didn't go through those things, you wouldn't even be who you are. Like if I didn't get MS, truly, I would have not understand nearly as much about compassion and empathy. And I'll tell you what, I also would have taken care of myself. I was already overweight when I got diagnosed. I was overweight, eating terribly, sleeping terribly, feeling miserable. And I probably would have continued to do that. Unless someone said, hey, if you don't take care of this, you can literally, you're going to make yourself die early. Is that what you want? And I had just had a baby, and I couldn't imagine even being without him for an hour and a half, never mind a lifetime. Are you kidding me? And that's what made me get it together, because they were like, you need to get it together. You're going to get it together, or you're going to wind up sitting in a hospital bed. What do you want to do? And I wanted to live. Like, more than anything, whatever my life is, I know my heart is still beating. So if my heart is beating, then I am waking up, and I'm getting at this day. Even if it's just to watch Netflix and judge everyone, I don't care. I'm doing it. I'm going to watch Housewives all day and judge it. I don't care, but at least I got up.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
You gotta love yourself all the days.
Yes, very true. This year, I just turned 66 in December, and I'm finally making myself a priority. And I have fibromyalgia, and I get migraines. And you're right. You know what? If I get 3 things accomplished, I'm proud of myself sometimes.
Right?
I don't know.
You should be, because it's hard. It's hard. Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah. I'm not saying, oh, my life is harder than yours. I'm just saying I'm having a hard time. Yes, for me, 3 things is fan-freaking-tastic. I'm probably going to call my mom about it. It's like, hey, Mom, I got so much stuff done today. Woo! She's like, what'd you do? I'm like, oh, I did this and this and this. She's like, really? She's like 80, and she, like, will run circles around me any day. I'm like, really, woman? Really? She's like, yeah, but you're funnier than me, so don't worry about it. Like, we just find our own way to be goofy with it because, well, again, this is all happening. It's happening. So we're just trying to make the best of it. And it's not even like, oh, make the best of it. But it sounds so sad, and we're like, oh, make the best of it. It's not that my life is miserable. It's because I refuse to let it be. Because even if I didn't have MS, everyone's got something. I can guarantee you, most people I talk to, even if you don't have a chronic disease, you have a chronic something, a chronic worry, a chronic pain, a chronic heartbreak, something that you're living next to every single day, some little thing that you put in your little heart's pocket every day that you have to carry with you to work, the grocery store, and the whole time that you're interacting with everyone else in this world, you're carrying this little thing, you're carrying this precious pain, whatever it is that's yours, and you still have to be okay. It's not so much the breaking point. It's having to go when you're broken. It's having to pick up all your broken pieces, put them in your satchel, and keep walking, even though you hear them all clanking around and they're like loose change. That's it. It's not the breaking. It's walking when you're broken. It's living broken. And it's hard, but it can be done.
Yeah.
It can.
Yes. Yeah. I'm living proof of that. That's for
right?
sure. I realize I only have so much energy in a day now, and I get done what I get done. If I feel like taking a nap, I take a nap. That's it. I just
forgive yourself, right?
Yes.
Like that,
and I don't feel like
yourself.
a failure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not. Yeah. And that's the thing. People don't even realize. If you have a chronic condition, you realize that every single thing you do, every single thing, the blinking of your eyeball is 5 times harder than it is for someone who's healthy. 5 times. It takes 5 times more out of you. A blink. Everything you do is harder, whether you like it or not. And not saying my life is harder than yours, but I'm telling you what, the pile that I have is hard for me to carry today. That's the best way you can say, like, I'm not saying my life is harder. I'm just saying, like, you got a laundry basket, right? I got some socks falling out of the basket today, and I cannot pick them up. They're falling out, and I can't collect it all. And that's just the way it's gonna. It's just But you got to forgive yourself. You can't say, well, I didn't get this done. Oh, I should have gotten this done. I should have. No. what you did get done was really all you had to do. It is. You made it, right? Are you here? The rest of this is icing, kid. Just make it. You don't have to break the tape across your chest. You don't have to come in first. You'll make it over the line. You'll make it over the line. You will, even if you got to crawl.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, Delaney, you were such a delight. I love talking to you. Where can people purchase your wonderful book, Grace?
Oh, well, for now, you can get it right on Amazon, and I can even give you, I literally have the number memorized for the address for Amazon. That's how much I was so excited when the book came out. I memorized it. And understand a person with MS memorizing a number, all right, I'm just going to say, I'm pretty much a superhero. So anyway, I'm like, whoa, I remember the phone numbers. I can't even remember my kid's social security number, but I'm like, I got this though. But if you go on Amazon, you can get this paperback for $15, and right now I actually have you can download the ebook for $5. So for $5, you can get the ebook on your reader. For $15, you can get the paperback, and in spring, the sequel to Grace, which is Envy, is coming out, and it is even saucier and more fun, and you get to see more of Margaret and Marie being fantastic, because Marie cracks me up. That girl is such, oh gosh, she's like a piece of sandpaper, a pretty piece of sandpaper. You know what I mean? She's really pretty sandpaper, because she's so great, yeah. But it's a fun, it's fun, thrilling, scary, sexy. It's all of it. It's life, man. It's life. It's a life. It's all of it. And I know that sounds like, oh well, you're everywhere. It's not. It's just that there's different relationships in the book. We have some married people. We have some single people. There's going to be the introduction of a late in life lesbian who's coming out, and then there's also a lesbian couple that's about to get married in the book. Like, these are broadening the horizons for everybody and bringing in the new characters while we're still getting to check out our characters that have already been established and see how they're doing and see what they're up to and what has changed, because the second book is 5 years later. So
wow, that sounds great. Delaney, I would love to have you back on to promote your book, Envy, after it's out. I would love to read it, and I wish you the best of luck. Oh, also, people can connect with Delaney Parker on Delaney. What's your website? Delaney Parker.com. Okay.
And I'm also on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram. If you look for Delaney Parker, you're going to find me. Or D Parker. And you'll find me because I'm everywhere.
And, folks, I highly recommend checking out Delaney Parker on all the social media, because you will be inspired.
Thank you.
Delaney inspires me, and I said, she's a gal after my own heart. The cover of the book is awesome. I like that. And the book is Grace, Grace, novel by Delaney Parker. Get the book, folks. Highly recommend it. And it's great. It's a great book, and I think that everybody would enjoy reading it, especially if you like erotica. You will definitely love this book. And so I want to thank you, Delaney, for writing this book and just having this character, Margaret Hall, being who she is. And, folks, I'm not giving away the ending, because I want you to pick this book up and read it yourself. And she does shock people. Yes,
Margaret
she does. And I just like to tell the audience to check out the guests. Go on their website and learn about the guests that come on the show, because there's only so much we could talk about on this show, and there's a lot more to the person that I'm interviewing. So I highly recommend for people to check out the guest website. And I want to thank everyone for listening. If you don't already subscribe to Chatting with Betsy, please do so. It's for free on Amazon Music. It is on Apple, Spreaker, Spotify, to name a few. And if you don't already subscribe, please do so. And share the show, because I want to help other people. I can only do it if you will tell your friends about it and share the show, because there is something for everybody. I have phenomenal guests coming on. And if I have to toot my own horn, I certainly will. And I just want to.
It's really good stuff. I enjoyed it today. I very much enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
No, you're welcome. My pleasure. And I want to thank, excuse me, Jeannie White, station manager at Passionate World Talk Radio. Please read the blog. Jeannie White writes, and she produces the show. And in the blog, it will have information about Delaney Parker, where you can purchase the book, in case you forgot, and how you can connect with Delaney Parker. And I also want to thank Lillian Caldwell, who's CEO of Passionate World Talk Radio, who makes this all possible. And I just want to say, folks, that I enjoy doing what I do. I enjoy interviewing people. And I had this show to help people and to help inspire you, to let you know you're not alone. There's resources out there, to hear inspiring stories, to hear people who have their struggles like Delaney does, and she's living her life. And you're not alone. We all think we're alone, but we're not. We just don't want to tell people how we feel because we're afraid of being judged. There's no judgment on Chatting with Betsy. There is no judgment at all. And I just want to thank you all for listening again. And as I always say at the end of my show, in a world where you could be anything, please be kind and shine your light bright, because we need it now more than ever. Oh, and before I forget, if you want to follow me, I'm on Facebook, Betsy E. Wurzel, W-U-R-Z-E-L, excuse me. And if you are looking for a support group, if you are a caregiver or preparing to be a caregiver, I have hashtag Kick Alzheimer's Ass Movement on Facebook. All are welcome to join. And that's it for today. Stay safe, everyone. This is Betsy Wurzel, your host of Chatting with Betsy on Passionate World Talk Radio, a subsidiary of Global Media Network, LLC. Bye-bye.